All right. Welcome back. The Bitcoin halving is upon us, guys. And hopefully we get some of you guys joining in. But I am just going to start out. Hopefully if you guys are watching this or you are joining in, hopefully you've brought along a nice celebratory beverage. Whether that be your favorite soda or something a little more. I've had this actually for a while. A good friend sent me this beer. I don't know, maybe a year ago. But this is all the way from Texas, and I've actually been to this brewery. It's Jester King, and very, very cool brewery. If you guys are in Texas and looking to do something fun. But maybe if I can get this uncorked. So yeah, we do have the halving today. It actually, let's look at the countdown here. We are about 36 minutes away. Now, I had to start a little earlier than I had kind of thought this morning. You know, when this countdown was going this morning, it was telling me it was going to be about 7 o'clock local time here, which would make it about 8 or 8:30-ish Eastern time. So I did have to hop on and start this a little bit early. But as you can see, you know, that's the thing. We're going to get into what the halving is and why it's not an exact time when we do see these countdowns. So cheers. Yep. Yeah. Woo. That is a good one. Okay, so yeah, let's get into why the Bitcoin isn't an exact time on these countdowns and why I had to start this early. If you look over here, this is on the Block Explorer. And if you look right here under latest blocks, we have completed the latest block at 839,994. Now the halving will be at 840,000 blocks. And why that is it's programmed into the code that every 210 blocks that are mined, that is when the supply is halved. So we had a halving at 210,000 blocks. We had another halving at 420 blocks, 20,000 blocks. We had another, hey Andrew, welcome to the stream. Yeah, we had another halving at 630,000 blocks, and now this halving will be at 840,000 blocks. So every block takes about 10 minutes, but that's just kind of an average. Some take longer than that, some take less than that. So it's not an exact time. This morning it seemed like the halving was going to be closer, like 2 hours later than it is now. But we are looking at about that 33 minutes from now. We've got what, that six blocks. Actually, let's refresh this. Yeah, this is still saying 6 blocks, which on average would mean about another hour, but we'll see. Now, let's get into what the halving actually is, because there's still a lot of confusion. Even I just got off the phone with somebody, and they were like, well, does having make the Bitcoin less valuable? And I laugh, and I saw the same thing on Twitter the other day. A guy was waiting to buy Bitcoin after the halving because he thought instead of buying it around 60,000, he thought once the halving happened, he'd be able to buy a Bitcoin for 30,000. And it's just not, that's not how it is, how it works. It's not a stock split kind of thing where tonight you have one Bitcoin, but tomorrow after the halving, you're going to have two Bitcoin. It's not anything like that. In fact, the halving in and of itself is pretty uneventful. Nothing is going to happen price-wise to Bitcoin right at the halving. All it is, and now if you look at your screen, this kind of gets into it. So we have the Genesis block, the very beginning block of Bitcoin, and during that era, every block was rewarded with 50 Bitcoins. So if your mining software solved a block, you got 50 Bitcoins for solving that block. That went all the way until 2012. And then we had the first halving. Nobody knew what this halving was. Most people didn't even know there was such a thing at that point. But in 2012, right here, we had that halving, and every block, instead of getting 50 Bitcoin as a reward for solving that block, it went to 25. Then in 2016, we had another halving. It went from 25 Bitcoins per block reward to 12.5. And this last one in 2020, we went from 12.5 to 6.25. Now, tonight, we are going to see those block rewards go from 6.25 down to 3.125, as is shown here. And then we've got one more after that that's going to be a full Bitcoin and a half. And then after that, in 2032, block rewards are going to be under a Bitcoin for every block out from there. So it's going to get crazy. But nothing happens right off with the halving. It kind of takes some time to kind of trickle through this whole system into the markets, and then actually that supply shock actually comes in and we start feeling that. So last time, let's jump over to TradeView. So here we are. I've put these green vertical lines in at the halving, but if I zoom out, I'm actually going to go back out to the daily chart. So I just want to show you guys back in 2020 what we did. So this was the halving in 2020. It was in May. It was May 11th when the 2020 halving happened. I'm going to zoom in just to there. You can kind of see we hit this halving and then, kind of traded pretty much basically sideways until October, or this says in about July, we got a little bit of a kick up. This was about an $8,000 price range. We've actually went up to like a 10 or 11 here. So we did see a kick up about then, but really, if I zoom clear out, we didn't really start this major uptrend until about October. And that was about 6 months, guys. Like, it took 6 months for that shock, that supply shock to filter through all of the system, going from Bitcoin miners selling or refusing to sell because it wasn't worth their time mining Bitcoin for for what they were going to get it for, or what they were going to sell it for. It just, and to work its way all the way through exchanges and finally start affecting that price, it was about 6 months. So that's the big question, guys, is when is that supply shock going to happen? And I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Honestly, nobody has a crystal ball or anything. Hi, Erica. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, nobody knows really, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows how long this is going to take to actually kick in. It's not going to be tonight. It's not going to be tomorrow. This is where we see people making really bad decisions because they've bought Bitcoin. They've bought that rumor of the Bitcoin halving. And so they've bought into that. And then the halving comes and they didn't get their one Bitcoin didn't turn into 2 Bitcoin overnight. And so they feel like they've been scammed and they sell to their own detriment because, then a few months later and we just do this. So how long is it going to take this time to filter through and go absolutely crazy? Nobody knows. I think it's going to be faster than it was last time. This 6 months of just sideways movement right here. I think it's going to be faster than that. And the reasons for that, hey, Sam and Erica, welcome. So the reason I think that it's going to move through this system faster this time, I want to jump back over. One of the reasons is the ETFs. So the ETFs have come onto the scene and we've seen a demand shock from Wall Street. There's no doubt about that. So we have this demand shock and now we have this supply shock coming, and it's almost honestly like the perfect storm. But that's one reason I think it's going to move through and start affecting prices quicker. The other reason, I'm going to jump back over to this graph. The other reason is this blue line. And what this blue line is, you can just see it going down and down and down. Let me move that up a little bit for you guys. So this blue line is the supply of Bitcoin on exchange. So all of the exchanges, Kraken, we've got Coinbase, Binance, all of the exchanges, this is the supply on all centralized exchanges. And you can see, let's see, these numbers are a little hard to read. But okay, so this big dip right here, this was the end of 2022. And what happened right here was FTX. And what happened with FTX was a centralized exchange, and they did some really horrible things and either outright stole people's money, or at best they did some shady things and lost that money. But either way, people woke up really quick right here and said, oh crap, maybe we shouldn't keep our coins on exchanges, because not your keys, not your coins. Like if you have your coins on exchange, it's not your coins. Technically, somebody like FTX or Coinbase can still do some really horrible things and misallocate or outright steal your Bitcoin. So that's what that dip was right here. But you can see it kind of continually has dropped and dropped and dropped. And the reason that's significant is because if there's less Bitcoin on exchanges, there's less Bitcoin available to sell. So if there's less supply on exchange, in my opinion, a supply shock should work through that system quicker and probably start to, affect the price sooner rather than later. So that's kind of my take on this thing. That here's the supply right here in this lower thing as well, and you can just see how it's just continually gone down. We haven't been at these levels since, it doesn't show on this one, but we haven't been at these levels since like 2018 right here. So I don't know, guys. It's going to be interesting. I don't claim to know when we'll see those exponential, parabolic moves, but yeah. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, so Erica and Sam are saying, feel free to tell our 401k fiasco story. Our Merrill Lynch advisor who told us once we rolled over to self-directed, we could buy HODL, which is one of the ETFs, or IBIT, and then all of a sudden they couldn't. Now their investor is looking into that. So I was actually talking with Sam and Erica about this earlier this week, and it's funny because, before Bitcoin, before cryptocurrencies, this happens all the time. It still happens all the time, even to me sometimes, where I have something in my bank, and they won't let me do something with my money. And this happens and has happened probably all of our lives. The thing with me is I never, yes, I'd get pissed about it, and I'd, threaten, oh, I'm going to move to a different bank if you're not going to let me do what I want with my money. But essentially, I was moving from somebody who could tell me what I could and couldn't do with my money to another person who would tell me what I could and couldn't do with my money. So until Bitcoin came along, it was just kind of how it was. It was just how the world worked. And, even though it kind of sucked, it wasn't really something that was really noticeable until you find that value in Bitcoin. Once you really understand what Bitcoin means as far as freedom and self-sovereignty, you don't really notice those kinds of things, like what the banks are telling you can and can't do with your money. Now Bitcoin comes along and they're telling you, no, you can't buy those ETFs. And it just becomes apparent, like, what Bitcoin is for. So anyways, yeah, Sam and Erica are going through that with their ETFs. We are a month in and still can't buy alt ETFs. So yeah, crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know, hopefully you guys have called and yelled at them for that. Turns out to be very tricky to do that. We are now thinking roll into a Roth IRA. Yeah, that if you can do that, there's the one I've seen advertised is I Trust Capital. And they do the Roth IRAs and they do cryptocurrency Roth IRAs. So if you can do that, that would definitely be a thing. I just don't know that much about how long it's going to take you guys to do that or whatnot. It would be a shame if you guys couldn't get in, before this supply shock hits, for sure. We realized how controlled our financial behavior is with traditional banking. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And before Bitcoin, it was, like I said, it was just kind of business as usual. Like this happens all the time. So we need a safe haven for our 401k. Andrew says, I am soon to be looking for a place to buy ETFs via my 401k as well. And I don't know, I know I mentioned this to you guys, Erica and Sam, like Fidelity. I don't know if you can roll it over. You're with Merrill Lynch. I don't know if you can roll your Merrill Lynch 401k over into Fidelity or not. But Fidelity should offer those because, obviously they are an ETF provider. I would be very surprised if they wouldn't let you buy it. So, yeah, interesting for sure. Another thing, it's this guy again, guys. I want to show you, roll this clip for you guys. This is Jamie Dimon, and this is a new interview that he just did yesterday or the day before. And he's always talked badly about Bitcoin, but I think this is very close to the first time he's ever talked badly about Bitcoin since the ETFs. And I'm going to tell you why that's important in a minute, but just listen to this for a sec.
Crypto.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud.
No hope for it.
Well, if they think they're a currency, there's no hope for it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a public, decentralized Ponzi.
Crypto.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud.
Okay. So calls it a fraud. He calls it a Ponzi scheme. But the reason this is interesting is because this is pretty much the first time he's said this since the Bitcoin ETFs. And Jamie Dimon is the CEO of JP Morgan. And JP Morgan is an authorized participant in BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. So what everybody's saying right now is this guy is breaking fiduciary duty, so basically when you're a company, you are supposed to act on the best, in the way that you see best that will help your investors and help your company. Now, either he's breaking fiduciary duty by being a participant in a Bitcoin ETF where Bitcoin is set to disrupt the banking system. He's either breaking fiduciary duty by even being involved, or he's breaking fiduciary duty by talking badly about Bitcoin while being involved in it. So fiduciary duty, guys, is something that actually some violations of that you can be jailed for. You can be fined, you can be sued, all kinds of things for breaking fiduciary duty. And is Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan going to face that? No. But it just goes to show you that this guy is an absolute criminal, like without a doubt now. And it wasn't a doubt before. JP Morgan or Jamie Dimon, he gets before Congress and likes to say that Bitcoin is only for drug dealers and money launderers and traffickers and everything. But guys, you got to remember that this was just back late last year. JP Morgan pays $290 million settlement with Epstein accusers. So he likes to talk bad about Bitcoin, about being trafficking and money laundering. But the real money launderers and the traffickers and the people who are involved in all of this crime have a much bigger thing to do with all that, guys. So he's, you know, pinnacle of hypocrite, I guess. Let's go back to comments. How would I transition everyday commerce to transactions with crypto to make purchases? This is a great point. So when Andrew, thanks for that. When I was building my house, I cashed out some of my altcoins because I didn't want to have to sweat the ups and downs of that market. And so I cashed out at a pretty good price, and I cashed out to USDC, which I held on Coinbase, and I don't have my wallet with me, but Coinbase has a card. It's a debit card, and you can choose, you know, any of your coins that you hold on Coinbase, you could choose to pay with at Home Depot, which was where I was shopping a lot. So I cashed out to USDC. There wasn't a fee to use USDC. There is a fee to use Bitcoin and some of the other cryptocurrencies every time you swipe your card. But that's how I bought everything I needed for my house. Is I had that Coinbase card, and I was using USDC every time I swiped and bought drywall or whatever. Now there is some really cool stuff. I just heard about this week, and coincidentally, it's to do with the Tangem hard wallet, the cold wallet, that Tangem review that I did. Apparently, Tangem has partnered with Visa. And so here, coming soon, I think they projected it sometime this year, you'll be able to use that Tangem card because it's an NFC card. It's basically the same thing. It's the same technology as the tap with your debit card or credit card on the machines. You just tap it. So that is the same technology in that Tangem card. You'll actually be able to use your crypto with Tangem to make purchases every day, which is huge because now you don't even have to hold your crypto on Coinbase. You can hold it in cold storage and use it for payments once this rolls out. So that's super exciting. I'm super excited, looking forward to that. Tangem also they made that announcement, and they made an announcement that they're making a ring. So a ring that you put on your finger, and it has that NFC technology in it, and you'll be able to tap that at your Home Depot or wherever you're buying gas or whatever, and make purchases. Now you will have to approve it through your app and all of that. So there is still some security there, but it's getting good, guys. You know, when I was kind of thinking about, let's just check this halving. We've got 8 minutes here. Oh, we are 1 block away from the halving, guys. I'm going to keep my eye right here. Yeah, let's go over this. So check this out. Where'd it go? Did I click on something wrong? Here we go. 839,999. We are almost there. So get your drinks ready. But anyways, I lost track of what I was talking about, that Tangem ring. Yeah, just excited that we're actually going to be able to pay in crypto for things now. The technologies are shipping. I was at the post office the other day, and there was a QR scanner on the swipe machine. And it took me back a second, and I asked the lady at the post office, hey, what's this QR scanner for? Because can I scan my Bitcoin wallet and, pay and receive money that way? And she was like, oh, I don't even know. We don't use it yet. But they are shipping that tech. So all this tech is coming out, guys. It's where we're going to be able to use this cryptocurrency a lot more than we are able to at this point. So things are getting exciting. But yeah, that's, I don't know. Hopefully that's what you were kind of asking there, Andrew. Erica and Sam say, we own lots of iBit in our personal portfolio, but just want to load up with more in our 401k. For sure. We use Coinbase. Didn't realize that Home Depot accepted their debit card. Yeah, anywhere. Anywhere that accepts Visa and MasterCard. I'm not sure if it's a Visa. I think it is a Visa, but yeah, anywhere you go with that. And soon with that cold wallet Tangem, we're going to be able to use that to buy gas now too. So oh yeah. Andrew says, yeah, it seems daily transactions is on the horizon, especially with Solana transaction speeds and transaction costs for sure. Like under a penny to do anything with Solana, and it's ultra fast. Actually, Visa, things are very much aligning, and Visa is on top of it. Visa has been running tests, and I can't remember where I saw this, but they were running tests on the different networks on how fast transactions were being done. Probably looking into which one they want to really kind of support. But Solana was the top one. I mean, it was like 0.4 seconds for a transaction on Solana. So that's faster than what it takes for a swipe to go through, So definitely on the horizon. Let's go over here and just check this again. We have done it. Guys, we are at the halving. 840,000 right here. The halving is done. Cheers. Did everybody get their Bitcoin dropped into their wallet? No, guys, I laugh about that, but it is a common misconception. So if any of you guys have kind of had that misconception, I'm not laughing at you. I laugh and I joke about it because a lot of people say, oh, well, the halving is priced in. And every time I hear that, it's confirmation every time I see somebody who doesn't really understand it, that it is not priced in. And anybody who says it's priced in doesn't really know what they're talking about anyway, because yes, you could buy Bitcoin before the halving in anticipation of the halving, but what you're doing is you're soaking up some of the supply. You're creating a buy demand, but no one can affect the supply. The incoming supply, it's completely programmed. Nobody can affect that. The only thing that affects it is this 4-year halving cycle. And I've heard it's priced in at least these last 2 halvings. That was the big narrative in 2020 was, oh, it's priced in. And it came and went, and 6 months of sideways went, and all of the people that were in the priced in corner were saying, ha, I told you, it's just priced in. No, we're not even going any higher this time. And it, in fact, was very much not priced in. So I don't know. The priced in narrative it's funny to hear. It's just noise, honestly. So let's go back to these comments. Yeehaw, cheers. Yep. You should check your 401k. You should probably have twice as much in your 401k now. Check that the IBIT. You own IBIT. You should own double the IBIT now. No, guys, you don't own more. Nobody, I can just see somebody, coming in on this stream at that exact moment and saying, Drake said I'd get twice as much. Financial advice, sue that guy. Cheers to the next year and a half. Things will be good. So here's something I wanted to kind of talk about. All eyes over the last few weeks have been on Iran and Israel. And well, let's even go further back than that. So last year, 2023, I was doing a lot of work. I had a flood in my house because my plumbers completely screwed up and ended up flooding my house. Anyways, I was doing a bunch of drywall, fixing all of this stuff, and I was listening to Bitcoin news and all this stuff, and all this BRICS news was coming out. So BRICS, if you guys don't know, BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And it's many, many more countries now. More and more countries are joining BRICS all the time. But their big thing in 2023 is they came forward and they said, we're going to move away from the dollar as the global reserve currency. Like we're going to de-dollarize. We're going to dump all of our dollars and we're going to go to a new system. And this is kind of in response to U.S. foreign policy and sanctions and all of that. But when this broke in 2023, I was like, and all the way through 2023, I was telling people I wouldn't be surprised if we go to war over this. Because the dollar, guys, whether you like it or not, the dollar is, I mean, something that would crash the dollar is kind of a national threat. Just to be fair. So all of these big countries going off of the dollar is a huge threat. Now, Biden came out and, did the PR move and said, we don't care if they go off the dollar. It's up to every sovereign country to, if they want to use another crypto or another currency, that's totally fine. Which is a bunch of BS. Honestly, when you look at Biden, he says one thing and does another, which is classic Democrat stuff. Obama said he was going to hold people responsible for the banking crisis in 2008, and that never happened. In fact, they bailed him out. So it's just how they work. But I kept saying that I wouldn't be surprised if we go to war over this. And even in a video a day or two ago, I said, we'll probably go to war about this. It won't be sold that way, though, because you can't sell a war saying, oh, they're hurting the dollar, let's go to war. It's not PC. and it comes off as kind of greedy and whatever. But, so I said it'd probably come in the form of, terrorism, because that's the easiest sell. People are afraid. It's easy to sell war on that. And then I think it was just this morning, it clicked in my head. Iran is in BRICS. So Iran joined BRICS in January of this year. So if we, theoretically, I'm not saying this is true or anything, maybe this is all just a coincidence, whatever. But theoretically, if you wanted to start a war over the dollar, but wanted to sell it as something else, and then in October comes a terrorist attack on one of our biggest allies, how would that all play out? So Israel starts bombing Palestine, and with no regard to terrorism, they're bombing hospitals. If you haven't seen the drone footage of a Israeli drone gunning down 4 12-year-olds, that was a rough one to watch. But so they're doing it in the worst possible way they can. And to me, like this morning, it just kind of clicked. Like they're trying to elicit an emotional response from somebody else. And are they trying to get these BRICS nations into a war so then they can justify whatever they want to do to have this war over the dollar? And I don't know, it just clicked to me this morning, Iran's in BRICS, and then it just all it seemed to make more sense to me. Now, again, I'm not saying this is true, but it makes more sense to me. Like Occam's razor, all things being equal, the simplest explanation is usually the correct explanation. So we have Israel bombing to the west, Palestine, and then all of a sudden last month they turn north and they bomb the Iranian consulate in Syria. How does that make sense? Unless they were trying to elicit a response from Iran to get this BRICS war. I don't know. Like I said, guys, I'm not saying that's true by any means, but it seems to make more sense to me than almost anything Israel and the White House is saying. So Eric says, brilliant analysis on BRICS. Iran didn't realize Iran had joined BRICS, next to no coverage on the subject in MSM, mainstream media. Yeah, for sure. And they, there is little things here and there. The thing is, guys, is like Biden is obviously playing into this. He's saying that we're not going to get drawn in. We're not going to support Israel, but he says that he's de-escalating, and then at the same time offers defense, offers money, offers weapons. And then Trump, on the other hand, the last interview that I listened to with Trump was on CNBC, and Trump called in to CNBC. It was a phone interview. And Trump, he was asked about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and he kind of played the audience because he knew the CNBC host is kind of has been favorable towards Bitcoin. So he played the audience and he said, well, I personally don't like Bitcoin. I don't like cryptocurrencies. I like the dollar, but people seem to like Bitcoin, so it's going to do what it's going to do. And so he made that statement about Bitcoin, and then he was asked about BRICS, like directly afterwards. And what Trump said about BRICS was, if you're going off of the dollar, that is an act of war. So Trump is going to be absolutely no better. In fact, you know, if he's saying going off the dollar is an act of war, I guess I'm guilty of treason. So whatever. You know, these politicians, it's a big geriocracy, like just a government run by old people who have had their entire lives to gain assets. They're never going to do anything in favor of the underdogs. You know, this younger generation is completely screwed with these guys at the helm. So yeah, fascinating speculation. Yeah, I could be completely off base, who knows, but it clicked in my head. Like I said, that the whole BRICS thing clicked in my head this morning, and I just haven't been able to find a better explanation in my head. So a few more things, guys. Geriocracy. Yeah. Old people. Yeah. We don't have any other, option. Like, we got old dementia Biden. We've got equally as old and more orange Trump. And then we've got Robert Kennedy, who I saw an interview with him, and I was like, whoa, that guy is older than he looks in a still picture. Like, he had some trouble speaking just like old Biden does. So it's a bunch of old guys, you know, deciding where to send young people to die is what it is. So let's go back over to this. This is a Twitter post that I saw today. Can we all buy $21 worth of Bitcoin on the halving day, April 20th? Now, for most of us, it's April 19th, but it actually is 4:20 UTC time, which is in Europe. Just barely. It was like, what time is it? It's probably just after midnight in Europe when the halving happened. So cheers again to the 420 halving. So anyways, this is just a meme going around. Go out and buy $21 worth of Bitcoin today. And then here's one I saw. Now, guys, don't go out and buy this. This is a meme coin. But being at the Black Cat Crypto Club, I thought it was funny. This is Katamoto. And it's a bunch of black cats. So this is a meme coin. But also, where does it say? Oh, right here, guys. Cats don't follow anybody. If I was a gambling man and wanted to get into meme coins, I'd probably hop on this. Don't do it. I mean, it's completely up to you. Again, you know, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is kind of freedom. So you do whatever you want with your money, but I'm not going to condone any meme coins on this channel. So anyways, guys, I am going to jump off. Let's see. Bjorn, what's up? Telecom company to create a honeypot after going after nearly every encrypted phone, like magically. Huh. Interesting. Darknet, huh? I wouldn't know anything about Darknet. BRICS is a global meta trend that most people are not translating into real world implications. You are the first I've heard even speculate about. Well, Sometimes, every once in a while, Erica, I've got my thumb on the pulse. All the rest of the time, that thumb right up the bum. No, guys, I don't know. It's like I said, I don't know. I don't count on me to know what's going on with the bricks, but it's going to be interesting. So, anyways, happy halving day. I'm going to let you guys get on with your business. Make sure you stay strong over the next year and a half, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.